What is up, my beautiful people? Matt at Triple Locked Adventures here. I'm on my way home from running a few errands, and I've got a little bit of time in the vehicle. So I wanted to talk today about the top 10 overland must-haves for beginners. If you see me kind of pointing over here, I have some notes on my phone. I will also be posting a blog on this. It should probably be up right around when this video comes up as well, so feel free to look over there as well. I wanted to kind of give this this topic some attention because I feel like a lot of beginners are a little bit lost, and even, you know, here I am, I don't want to say an influencer, but somebody that's on YouTube, Instagram, has a platform. A lot of us have these fully built rigs, and you see all this on the internet and you're like, wow, I must need this to go do these things, and that's really not the case. I didn't start that way, and I would probably speak for most people that you're gonna see and watch online also didn't start that way. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing and foremost is quality tires. No matter what vehicle you have, and whatever kind of travel you're trying to get into, quality tires are key. Now, specifically in overlanding, really the best place to start is going to be an all-terrain tire. Most vehicles, especially like this Lexus, Toyotas, even a lot of Jeeps too, they come with what's called like a passenger tire or a highway train tire, or it's a highway tire really. There's nothing wrong with those. The manufacturers put them on because they're quiet, they ride really comfortable, and they increase gas mileage, or at least maximize gas mileage, right? So what you want to do is swap those out for an all-terrain tire. The reason for that is you're going to have a lot better traction, you're going to have a stronger sidewall, you're going to have deeper treads. Just overall, it's going to be a lot better for the type of driving and the places that you're going to go. So that's really your first step. And I should note, if you already have all-terrain tires on your vehicle, that's awesome. That's all you really need. I won't go too much into tire size here and weight specs and all that kind of stuff, because I'm going to do a whole new blog and a whole new video specifically talking about that topic. So sorry if you hear background noise, that's my radar detector. Yeah, so I'll do a whole deep dive into that, but really just, if you're starting, in summary, all-terrain tires is kind of your go-to and your must-have. You can pick any brand you want. I personally started out with the Falcon Wild Peak ATW 3s. I believe they just released the ATW 4s, but there are other brands out there too. There's like General Grabber ATXs, Toyo, Nitto. I mean, everybody makes an AT tire. Any of the reputable brands are going to be super high quality. Highly recommend all of them. So let's move on to the second thing. Second thing is reliable navigation tools. This is kind of a large category and a large topic, and you can kind of take multiple approaches. You can start with just paper maps. There's nothing wrong with them. Honestly, they always work, and especially if you get a waterproof one, it's gonna last forever. Granted, sure, you should know how to use a map and use a compass and kind of figure out, you know, where you are and that kind of stuff, but a good old paper map always works. They're pretty affordable. In our area up here in the Northeast, Badger Maps is well known. God, what's the other one? They're at the Overland festivals all the time. It's like Blue Frog or something like that. Purple Lizard Maps. I'm completely off. Purple Lizard Maps is awesome. They support the Overland community. I don't know how much maps they have out west, but up here in the Northeast, phenomenal maps, and they actually specifically go through all the routes and do the overland double checks of trails and all that kind of stuff. So that's a really good start. Other things you can do within that category are, say, apps on your phone. You know, you can start with like Gaia GPS. Onyx Off-Road has a great app as well. There are a few others out there as well. Oh, iOverlander is a great one. Not so much for GPS navigation, but for finding points of interest, whether it's water, camping locations, dispersed camping locations, that kind of stuff. Personally, I actually have all of those. iOverlander is free, although there's some things that have happened recently that I just found out about. I don't approve, but I won't go there. iOverlander is technically still free to download. Gaia GPS does have a free version. I do recommend the premium. I actually have a 5-year membership to them. That's a great mapping system. I'll do a whole nother video just on Gaia GPS. Or highly recommend checking out some of the other channels. Matt at Ozark Overland Adventures has a phenomenal videos on that. He was a great inspiration for me to even use Gaia in the first place. There's plenty of other guys on YouTube as well. I do plan on making some videos on that in the future though. Onyx Off-Road is great. I don't particularly ever use that though for navigation. You definitely could. I specifically use that more for looking at off-road trails, their trail ratings, pictures, people's comments, trail conditions in the surrounding areas. It is worth noting that all of those solutions, outside of obviously paper maps, you need internet to use those. You can download offline maps with Onyx and Gaia Maps. It is a little finicky. It does take a little bit of time to kind of figure out what areas you can download. For my specific purposes, I typically do, I would say, more on the expedition style of traveling or long overland trips. Not that we don't do small trips, but typically when I'm going out on a trip like the one coming up here, we're going out west for at least 4 weeks. So we typically do 2-week plus trips. I said, like, a good example actually would be, we did the BDR, we did the South Carolina Adventure Route, connect that to the Mid-Atlantic back road discovery route. So we went from pretty much the South Carolina, the southeast tip of South Carolina, that's hard to say, all the way up to Scar, connected to MABDR, all the way up to PA. Took us over a week to get home. You're mostly off the grid without cell service for that whole entire time. Could you download offline maps for that entire thing? Yeah, you're gonna need a lot of memory, and most likely it is gonna be very cumbersome. So that kind of brings in the last solution. The last solution is something I actually just purchased, and I'll be putting a video up of an unboxing of it. I actually have it in my vehicle right now. I'm kind of doing some testing, so I don't want to release any videos too early on it. But that would be like an actual navigation unit. That would be like, for example, I just bought the Garmin Tread XL Overland Edition. That is an actual physical unit that has all those offline maps built into it. This specific one also has iOverlander built into it. It has all the US park services in it. God, it has a lot in it. Actually, let me pull it up because I have it in the background here. So you've got, here, you've got a lot of stuff that you can do with this mapping system. So you've got US Forest Service, you've got TripAdvisor, iOverland, Plan RV Parks in it, Ultimate Public Campgrounds, national parks, snowmobile stuff, fuel around your area, off-road parks. I mean, there's just so much packed into this unit, and it's all offline. It is expensive, but it's all offline. The other cool thing with this unit is that you can also upload your own GPX files as well, just like you can on Onyx, and I believe on just like you can on Gaia, and I believe you can also do this on Onyx as well, but you can upload your own GPX files for routes and stuff like that. So that's kind of your last one. That's a big category, but it's important if you're going out to know where you're going. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much on that one, but that is a huge category. The next category is a little bit quicker. That's recovery gear. No matter where you're going, there is potential that you may get stuck or get into a precarious situation, or you may also find somebody else that has done the same. You're gonna wanna get some quality recovery gear. I always tell people in the beginning, I recommend getting like a recovery kit. A lot of the manufacturers out there, any of your reputable brands, I don't wanna name any because I don't wanna like narrow down too much, but I guess like, you know, ARB, Factor 55, oh God, probably even like any of your winch brands, Warren, Come Up, probably even Schmitty-Belt's probably pretty decent too. Bubba Ropes, God, I don't want to miss anybody. There's so many good ones out there, but any of the reputable brands that are load rated, have tags on them that are showing you what the load rating and brake strength of any of the parts are, is what you want to stick to. So some of the things you want to look for in kind of a beginner kit would be some sort of tow strap, a recovery rope, shackles, and maybe a set of traction boards. That last one's not required, but it's nice to have. You don't need to go out and buy the nicest traction boards in the world. There are cheap Amazon ones. That's what I started with until I got Max Trax. But as far as the other gear, buy quality gear. You don't need to, go nuts and go buy everything you would see on a tow truck. Honestly, you don't need that. But get a nice high quality starter kit and build from there. I will do a future video of my entire recovery gear kit. Mine's kind of adapted and built upon over time. But really just in the beginning, like I said, just get a nice starter kit. Make sure you have good recovery points on your vehicle. So say you have a trailer hitch in the rear, but you have no other recovery points. They make nice receiver hitches that go in that allow you to put a shackle on the back. That is a great recovery point. Is it the perfect solution? No, but in the beginning it is perfect. I still carry one in my kit because if I find somebody else out there that does not have a recovery point, most likely they've got a receiver hitch. I can slide that in there and help them out. On the front of your vehicle, that can get a little tough. In the very beginning, it is nice to go buy some recovery points. It is expensive though, and make sure you get high quality ones. For instance, I'm running ARB ones. They're extremely high quality and they are expensive. Another brand that I know of, and I don't know a lot of brands out there, but I know Apex, I think Apex Off-Road or Apex Overland, I can't remember the name of their brand. They actually have a rated front recovery point for a lot of different vehicles out there. Just again, I can't stress it enough, make sure you're buying high quality rated gear. That's important. The last thing you want to do is be out there in a sticky situation. For example, say the road washed out or two people were passing each other and you kind of fell off into a ditch and you're a potential rollover situation. You really do not want to be relying on some off-brand rope that you have no idea what the weight rating is, and that's the only thing holding your vehicle up or holding you to a tow vehicle. That's just a recipe for disaster. Let's move on. Fourth topic, portable air compressor. As you start getting off the beaten path, you're going to want to be airing down those nice all-terrain tires that you bought to get more traction, to get better ride comfort. And to do that, well, you've got to air back up. Is an air compressor absolutely necessary? No. Is an onboard air compressor and having all the fancy stuff, is that necessary? Absolutely not. I started personally with just a cheap portable air compressor. I was an Ironman 4x4 one. It was like on sale during some Black Friday deal or something. It worked phenomenal. I had 33-inch tires at the time. It probably took 3 minutes per tire to air up. So it took quite a while, but it worked great. You just kind of alligator clipped it to your battery. And that worked great. I highly recommend whatever you can find that will air up your tire size relatively quickly and have a decent duty cycle so it's not going to overheat. If you can't afford an air compressor at all, it's not the end of the world. Don't absolutely freak out. You can still air down and wait till you get to like a gas station to air up. With that said, you're going to want to drive slow. You're going to want to not get a lot of heat in those tires. When you're aired down, you're going to create a lot of heat in the sidewall, which can create a blowout, especially at higher temperatures on the street. So, I know a lot of Jeep guys where I grew up used to air down, and they would, drive 20 miles an hour with their four-ways on or whatever on the back roads and just wait till they could get to a gas station to air back up. That's fully an option. In the East Coast, that's probably easier than the West Coast. You may be, who knows, 50 miles, who knows how far you could be from an air up station. So highly recommend that. Not absolutely necessary, but a really good thing. Nice peace of mind. You can also use it for like pumping up your kids' toys and stuff like that too. So let's move on to the next topic. The next one is first aid gear. This is another one I recommend picking up some sort of starter kit, especially of a decent quality. I use My Medic. There's 100 of them out there. I've just had really good luck with them. Their kits are nice quality. They have pretty good gear in them. They have a bunch of different sizes. I would recommend getting a size that actually personally exceeds the number of people you're gonna be carrying in your vehicle. Say it's you, significant other, and maybe like some kids or maybe your dog or something. buy like at least a four-person kit, or maybe even like a 6-person kit. You're gonna want as much gear as you can have. And some of those things that you're gonna want to be looking for are like bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes, painkillers, pain relievers, anything for minor injuries and, you know, emergency type situations. It's not a bad idea to carry other stuff, maybe tourniquets, stuff like that. If you're in those type of situations, it could be life-saving to have those. So it's not a bad idea to have those, but I do recommend, no matter what size kit you have, take some first aid training. And it is worth shouting out MyMedic. I am not sponsored by them. I'll reach out to them. Maybe they would love to sponsor me. I know with a lot of their kits, if you buy their kits, they actually give you like a free little field manual that you can download and bring with you and kind of read and stuff like that. Download it to your phone. But if that's not an option, or you don't have some sort of field manual you can bring, great options are, if you ever go to any Overland Expo, I know Mid-Atlantic Overland Festival, Expo East, any of the decent sized expos I've been to, they have a medical training course for free that you can do at those, and they're very informative. You will learn a lot. I go to them every single year. Things change, like for instance, doing chest compressions, kind of the accepted way of doing it has changed a lot over the years, so I like to be refreshed on that. And with this said, if you can't make it to Overland Expos, or you have not found one that has a course near you, go to your local fire department or your local EMS and ask them, do you guys do any training? You will be surprised how excited they are to show you. A lot of those guys would love to have more civilians know what they're doing in case of emergencies. The best thing you can do is be the first one on site and know what you're doing. So that kind of covers first aid. You know, you don't need to get crazy, but have the stuff that can help you, you know? So that brings up the next topic, which is camp kitchen setup. This is another one that you can get super carried away with, or you can go super basic with. As a beginner, start simple. Keep it stupid, smart, and simple. Things that you're gonna wanna look for are like a basic portable stove. It could be a little hiker one. It can be just a good old Coleman. Whatever you have or whatever you can afford is gonna be great. Start there. You need to be able to cook. If you can't afford that at all, and you're in the areas where you can have a fire, start with just some fire utensils and some cleaning stuff, you know, be able to cook on a fire. That's a great way to start. So that brings up cooking utensils. You're gonna want some good cooking utensils. Pick and choose whatever you want. Bring them from your house if you want. It's a great way to start. You know, bring your forks, bring your spoons, bring your spatula, you know, whatever you got, use it. Adapt it over time. Add, choose, delete, whatever. We've adapted our system so many times it's not even funny. Some things have been core staples throughout, but yeah. Next thing is, you know, collapsible cookware is nice. It saves a lot of space. You don't need it. I personally still use enamel cookware. It does rattle on the back. It doesn't save a whole lot of space, but it is very useful and very good. Next thing, I think the last thing on that is make sure you have some sort of containers to bring your gear. Make sure you have containers to keep critters away. And last but not least, bring trash bags. Everywhere you go, I don't care what park you're in, even if it's a campground, it is carry in, carry out. In a campground, it's gonna be carry in, bring over to the trash can. So make sure you bring trash bags. If you're starting to get into overlanding, you are gonna find not everybody does the right thing. There's gonna be trash at campsites. It is always nice to have a set of gloves or something, which should also be in your recovery gear, by the way. Pick up that stuff, throw it in a trash bag, and just let's leave it nicer than we found it, guys. I'll end at that. Seventh category, lucky 7, is water filtration system. It is very important to have water while you are out. I want to say it's a gallon per person, excuse me, per day. I could be wrong on that though. I can't remember that, but you want water and you want a lot of it. If it's in the winter, You still want a lot of water. If it's in the summer, you're gonna want a lot more. If you're doing strenuous hiking, that kind of stuff, or say you're doing like overland videos or you're trying to video yourself, you're gonna be running up and down the trail a bunch. You want water. If you can't afford some sort of filtration system, bring water with you, bring a lot of it. If you can't afford a filtration system, there's a lot of different options out there. I particularly use the Lifesaver jerry can. It is, you know, full-size jerry can, 5 gallons, that you can put water in, you pump it, and it gives you fresh water out. So you can literally dump it in, ideally not dirty water, but you can do it. It'll filtrate out 99.9% of water. It has a mil-spec rating. They have used it in military applications to give people clean drinking water in third world countries. So it is something you can rely on. There are other options out there though. That one is a little expensive, and of course you got to be able to carry it and store it and all that kind of stuff. There are other options, like I said. So there are systems, there are ones, there's like a life straw. If you are in a dire situation, you can literally go down to a river and drink out of the river with it. Not a great way to like make your whole trip out of doing that. There are gravity feed systems that you can buy out there. That was kind of started by the hikers and kind of base camp type of people. So you fill up a bladder of water, you hang it up high, it's got a filter in it, and it slowly gravity drips down into a secondary bladder, or sometimes not even, just into like a container. So there are a lot of solutions out there. I recommend kind of looking. I will probably write a secondary blog or even a video doing just that. Actually, all these categories I will. But simply, you're gonna need water. Make sure you bring some, make sure it's safe to drink. And don't forget, you're probably gonna want some to wash your hands and clean your cooking gear with as well. So that brings up the 8th category, which is shelter. You're gonna want some sort of sturdy shelter of some sort. That can be anything from, if you just want a hammock, great, use a hammock. Me personally, I don't really love hammocks. I tend to be a side sleeper. I don't like sleeping on my back, and I have not found a hammock that comfortably does that. And at this point, I mean, I have a rooftop tent at this point, so I don't know if I could ever go back. But I started with ground tents. Ground tents are phenomenal. You can go buy a Coleman, an REI, you know, you name the brand, all the way up to kind of your Gazelle tents. You name it, bring it. It works as long as it is sturdy, fits everything you need, has some sort of rain fly on it, and will hold up to the weather of whatever you typically see in your area. Phenomenal. That's all you really need. You can move up from there. You know, if you want to get into rooftop tents, if you want to get into even like trailers and stuff like that, those are good solutions. I personally have moved from ground tents up to a rooftop tent, and I will never go back. There are downsides to rooftop tents, and it is not for everybody. First off, the price of them is outrageous. I mean, are they worth it? Questionable. I absolutely love mine and will never go back, so there's maybe your answer. But they are great solutions. I don't recommend it as a beginner. Probably you can just buy a tent and be absolutely fine. So let's bring up the next one, which this one is kind of overlooked a lot as beginners. I've made this mistake in the past, even just like before I even got into overlanding, just camping. And that section is lighting and maybe power solutions. So when the sun goes down, it gets dark. The best, cheapest solution in beginning is some sort of headlamp, ideally rechargeable. I don't have rechargeable ones, with that said though. I just kind of replace the batteries on a regular basis. I will definitely be upgrading to some rechargeable one at some point, just for the ease of use, or God forbid it dies, I'll be able to plug it into the truck, charge it, easy. But definitely get a headlamp. I recommend one that does have some sort of red light or green light feature. When you're at camp and you're blasting a light around, it can get annoying for you, for your light, your eyes changing. It can get annoying for others that may be in the area. And honestly, the red light I find is just a little bit easier for kind of doing stuff around the vehicle, or like using, like cooking or something like that. You don't need a big bright light that's going to attract bugs. Next thing is like some little portable lanterns. Again, I keep saying Coleman because that's kind of what I grew up on. I was a Boy Scout as a kid, so it's kind of like the brand that we all used. You can just get a good old little Coleman lamp, any rechargeable lamp. These days, you can go on Amazon and buy any LED lamp that's out there. I can't even remember the one I have. It's like it might be a Go Zero one or something like that. It's a little rechargeable lamp. Mine has feet, so you can either hang it or put it on a table. Works great. Whatever you find, as long as it's a lamp, that's all you need, really. Power solutions, I don't want to get into too much. That's not something you really need as a beginner unless you have like a medical condition. Say you need a CPAP machine at night or something like that. It's not really necessary. Just get out there, have a good time. Almost every vehicle is going to have a 12-volt charging outlet. You can probably charge your phone. You can probably charge some of the things you're going to need to charge and get by in the beginning. I will make a whole YouTube video and a whole blog on my website just diving into power solutions, so keep an eye out for that. The final and last is storage solutions. This is a huge category. I'll try not to dive too deep into. Really the gist of this is you just want to stay organized and keep things accessible. We all start with kind of just throwing stuff in the rig, and then maybe you get some plastic containers and start organizing. Everybody starts really messy. Well, I shouldn't say that. When you load your vehicle for your trip, it's usually pretty organized. By the end of the trip, it's usually a disaster. And that is something I think every overlander is always constantly trying to work on and evolve and change. And this goes for even just campers and off-roaders and stuff. Is stuff gets moved. You will start learning what works and doesn't work. There is no tried and true solution out there for everybody. For beginners, I recommend just starting with some like little Rubbermaid containers, or maybe even whatever you have around the house, whether it's baskets, like whatever you have to kind of keep things organized and contained, easily accessible. And maybe, you know, maybe this is your kitchen gear, maybe this is your recovery gear, like whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. Just kind of keep things organized. There's nothing worse than like you pull into camp late at night and the back of your truck is an absolute disaster. The back seats have just got clothes and stuff everywhere, and maybe you didn't bring a headlamp or whatever, and you're trying to dig through stuff and now you're starving. You know, like that's the worst. It happens to all of us, but there's nothing better than getting to camp late at night or whatever, and you just, everything is organized, everything is exactly where you want it, need it, it's reliable, it's repeatable. That's really the gist of storage solutions. I won't go too crazy into that at this point. That really wraps it up, guys. So I'll briefly just go over these one more time just so you have all those points down. So if you want to jot this all down, first and foremost, quality tires. Second, reliable navigation system, reliable navigation tools. Third, recovery gear. Fourth, a portable air compressor. Fifth, first aid kit. Sixth, a camp kitchen system. Seventh, water filtration system, or at least a way to bring water with you. 8, some sort of shelter from the, you know, the sun and the rain and potentially snow and anything else you're going to get into. And then 9, lighting, maybe a power solution. And 10, a storage system. Guys, that wraps it up for the top 10 things that you're going to need as a beginner getting into overlanding. I would love to hear your feedback on this. Do you think this list is terrible? Do you think this list is phenomenal? Do you want to hear more details about each and everything? I kind of hope you do, because I'm going to make blogs diving into all these and complementing videos. So with that said, if you're still listening to this, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. I'm a new channel. There's going to be a lot of content coming out. I literally have an entire sheet of to-do list of videos that I want to make. So there's a lot coming. You can find me on Triple Locked Adventures on everything, YouTube, Instagram. I have a website with blogs being posted. Would love some likes and follows. Until then, enjoy the adventure, and I'll see you guys again.